Get my phone out of his ass. I had a little freak out. I was like, oh, shit. I forgot everything we were supposed to talk about.
What was your freak out?
I didn't know what we were talking about. And then I remembered it was Jehovah's Witness. Or actually, I checked the episode, and it reminded me by telling me what it was, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witnesses, yes.
And I go, oh, shit, I don't have to prepare for this one. I already, I know. Literally, this could be a Q&A. I do have some facts pointed out just in case.
Yeah.
Because I think there's subtleties.
Yeah.
Guess, but also I have lots of personal experience with.
Well, yeah, that's a good
with
place.
The like.
That's a good place to start with the Jehovah's Witnesses, because I think for me, my general knowledge, I'll be honest, I didn't go deep into this knowing how much you knew.
Yeah.
Because I literally could just be like, I mean, anything I'm going to learn, I could just ask Pat.
Pretty much everything, yeah.
And, but I watched a few videos just as a refresher, and then my vast knowledge on the Jehovah's Witness is mainly from a South Park episode.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So that's
I don't think I realized they did Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, they did. They do a whole one where they actually... Because I got reminded, I was watching... there's this fucking dude who makes a lot of, like, explainer videos where they're very stylistic and all this other shit, but by the end of it, you're like, I have a general knowledge on this situation after 30 minutes of this video.
Yeah, I'm somewhat of an expert.
Yeah, and he was actually, like, a former Jehovah's Witness and shit.
Those are the best videos. Because that's the thing. It's like, personally, that's why when I think the reason we got to this point was we were talking about Scientology in the last one. Obviously, we're huge fans of Scientology. It's the greatest thing in the world. That's my favorite title we've ever had.
Yeah, which some of the people... Hopefully this chair doesn't end like my other chair. Some people who watched that episode, and let me get the quote properly.
Oh, no.
Because it was like in the context of the video, the comment made me laugh so much where he goes, they can't afford to sue anymore. Well, SCN Crime Watch, here at No More Heroes, we're not going to take the risk.
We are not going to take the risk. Especially the fact that we did bring up the leader's possibly dead wife that has been hidden from the public.
Oh yeah, you had a few Scientology deep cuts in there.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of like Scientology goes all around, and the personal experience from Scientology and going into Jehovah's Witnesses, it's like they took the shittiest parts of Scientology, of like the culty evil vibe shit, and brought it into Christianity. You know what I mean? That's what it really feels like.
That's a good place. That's a good place to start too, because a big thing in my limited Jehovah's Witness research, I didn't realize this was technically an offshoot of Christianity.
Yeah,
it's like, because like for the longest time, I thought they were kind of like, yeah, we're gonna say like God and stuff, but it's gonna be our complete remix on it the same way. That's why I thought the jump from Scientology to Jehovah's Witnesses was so good, because I thought it was like a complete remix, but in actuality, it's just like, no, it's inspired by.
It's really what it is. It's funny because it's like it's just. It's an interpretation. It's a translation. That's the thing. Essentially, that's what it is. It's like so back in the day, like we know about, like we talked about like Martin Luther for a little, like didn't we talk about that for a little bit with like how there's people that were like translating the Bible.
Yeah, wasn't he the dude? Wasn't he the dude who nailed the thing on the church door and was like, "Yo, you guys are fucking up."
Yeah, it's essentially they were like, so like Jehovah's Witnesses differ from most Christian denominations primarily in their understanding of God and Jesus. So like they don't have the Holy Trinity. They think God is Jehovah, God.
Yeah.
That's it. He did create Jesus.
Yeah.
But Jesus doesn't have any superpowers. They don't believe in it.
He's just a dude chilling.
Yeah, he's just a dude. Also, fun fact about Jehovah's Witnesses, no hell. They don't believe in hell.
That's not bad.
So when you die, you don't go anywhere. You're just sleeping until the eventual return of Jehovah and the resurrection, essentially where everybody can go to heaven, that is allowed, and then everybody else will just return back to earth. So like worst case scenario, we'll just be fucking chilling on earth. But by that time, what they don't mention is essentially by that time hell will be on earth.
Oh,
So like
okay.
they still got a hell, they just don't call it hell, and it's not like there's not like that stuff, but there is still limitations for people. Certain people feel like you can invite evil spirits in or the devil by watching R-rated movies and stuff and things like that. But like there's not really a lot of there's still like a devil and evil and shit, but there's not really. I don't think he has a home. He's kind of here. He's like he's in all your bad influences.
What's the?
So sorry, I stopped
No,
myself
no.
in between that, but the Holy Trinity. I did have something on Martin Luther. Sorry, that's why I wanted to bring that up. So it's I think the King James Bible. We talked about that before. Did I talk about that?
No.
the Kevin James Bible.
God's just kind of like.
So a lot of it is that's what I was saying was their translations.
Yeah.
So like this is a New World Translation, which is their version of the Bible. It's like their interpretation of there being. It's mainly New Testament, so it's a lot of just good stuff, and it's a lot of that. It's in the history of it. I think is what I was seeing about Martin Luther. Sorry about that.
No, when you say about the translation, wasn't that what was it? It was Robert Smith from The Cure.
Yep.
He went out into the forest. God talked to him for like it was like a 3-day weekend, and God was like, "Yo, this is what's good."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll let him know." That's basically what it is, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, he's like, what it is it's this. It's like it's also changed over the years from what I've experienced. Is like there's been rule changes in Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, there was like little things they were adapting in their Bible where they were like, there was like certain phrasing that was very absolute, and they're like, yeah, let's get some wiggle room in there. Why not?
So Martin Luther was a German priest, theologian, author, hymn writer, professor, and former Augustinian friar.
He's like, dude, I'm not just a fucking smart guy.
This is a lot of made up things.
Well, that's like, that always, once you get to about 3 or 4, it's always like when a former reality star is like, also comedian.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
like,
also an author. And it's like, oh, you wrote a cookbook.
You can just leave the main ones.
There's a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
He's widely.
It's like occasional gardener.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a lot. You're pumping up your.
Just do the main ones, Marty.
Kind of looks like Michael Ian Scott.
May I? A little bit, yeah.
I mean, I feel like
definitely. What was that? What was he in, Mr. Show?
Yeah, this is Stella too. I really like it.
Bring back Stella.
But he's widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in Western Christian history. So yeah, he's the guy that.
Dude, how fun would it be to be one of those dudes? You just like wrote up a little thing, and then the vast majority of the world just saw that, and they were like, hey, yeah. And then you just completely change the way of thinking for the rest of the life, for the rest of the time.
That's what it was, brother. They were a lot of Christianity was written and spoke in Latin.
Yeah.
Essentially. So like it was Latin people the church had power over the people because they only knew the word. So they were essentially the only people that could do it. He translated it from Latin to German. And that's what it was. He started basically translating it for more of the common people.
Yeah.
So they were able to. So that's essentially what it was.
No, you're good. That's a big factor into any of these like religions that have a shit ton of control, or like these cults that have a lot of control and shit like that, is having the mystic knowledge that no one else has access to. So just translating it, and also just having more people being able to read, is just like little things you take for granted that like will change the course of human history.
Yeah, I think there's a weird thing of like they didn't actually adopt the name Jehovah's Witnesses until July 26th of 1931, but it was started in Pennsylvania.
Ooh.
In Pittsburgh, actually.
That makes sense,
or
man.
outside of Pittsburgh. Yeah.
I feel like one of those. Yeah,
I feel 1870. Sorry, I wanted to.
No. You're good. Pennsylvania does seem like a very appropriate place to do that, because it's like I remember growing up, like I grew up, dude. Like those Quaker laws and shit. It's crazy how long that shit bleeds over.
Yeah.
Like I remember growing up, and if it like once around like 1 or 2 p.m. hit, you're like, dude, nothing's open. And I
Yeah.
grew up in the suburbs. Like, I didn't grow up in like a fucking middle of nowhere. Like, I grew up in the suburbs, and yeah, Sunday you'd just be like, yeah, we're not doing shit Sunday.
Yeah, I think there's like they don't necessarily from what like they have like meeting days. They call like a lot of their church Jehovah's Witnesses like their meetings. So like they have the Kingdom Hall. You've probably seen them around. They're like you actually probably I will say this with almost 100% certainty. Everybody that's listening or watching this has seen one before, whether you noticed it or not. It's very subtle. They're very low key. They also have a kind of a dress code.
Yeah.
Like actually up until just recently they weren't allowing beards, which is very funny because I didn't realize that. I don't think when I was I don't think I realized the connection, but I was just kind of like, what about Jesus though? You guys still recognize Jesus, even though he's not super holy to you or anything. They don't like Jesus on the cross. They don't worship the cross.
They didn't like swag jackers though.
Exactly,
That's why they didn't want you to dress like Jesus.
But just recently, like literally within the past couple of years, they've actually changed that rule. They've changed the rule of smoking. They used to be allowed to smoke, but then now they're not allowed to smoke.
Can't smoke?
Not allowed to smoke now. And I think that was somebody at the higher ups, one of the elders, saying like, we need to, like, he was probably trying to quit smoking and probably walking into the Kingdom Hall and talking to everybody. He was just like, all right, no one's allowed to smoke.
No one's allowed to smoke because I'm fiending.
There's a lot of those rules, but Jehovah's Witnesses started in the.
Here, wait. Before we get too deep into that, we should give context because we were just kind of like Pat's a Jehovah's Witness, and I know it's like a slight family thing, but like you don't have to give more details than you need to. But we were just kind of like Pat's a Jehovah's Witness expert, and moving on.
Yeah.
But you have. And you can share as much as you want, but Pat has personal experience with Jehovah's Witnesses.
So what happened was, like, this is actually legitimately, I think, aside until we started the research era with this, and obviously Religion Month begot us, but I only studied one religion my whole life, which would be Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
So when I met my wife in Kazakhstan or St. Petersburg. We were
tomato.
Yeah, same thing. She was working at a Starbucks, and that's where I met her. But she also was a practicing, and I think within a couple years, recently baptized Jehovah's Witness. Her mom and her. It is, when I talk about it being kind of a religion, kind of. Seemingly, from what I've observed, kind of very guilt-based.
Yeah.
Like most Christianity and Catholicism, Judaism, a lot of that. Whatever the family, the mother usually supports, the rest of the family is expected to follow, kind of thing.
Oh, like the mother's the
like
one.
Like if you're Jewish and you're born out of a Jewish vagina, you don't have a choice. You are Jewish.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's.
Like, it's not that same thing. You don't have like, this is the thing where you don't have a choice, but, we're all going to the meeting. And you can go to the meetings not baptized. But if you're baptized and you're disfellowshipped.
Which is?
Essentially excommunicated. This is officially what it is you are not allowed to speak to anybody.
Yeah.
By the way,
weirdest
thing, they just recently had a rule change.
Oh wait, are you like up to date on
brother?
Jovies?
I still know active J-dubs. There's like there I am married into. This is the long story. My wife was not my wife, but when she decided to let her parents know that we were dating and serious, they said that you are not allowed to. And if you end up living with him, or I can't remember exactly. It's still like the details of it. I swear to God, I'm trying to move on. But when your kind of first interaction with your in-laws is like kind of is meeting them alone after you found out that they said if our daughter keeps seeing you, we will not talk to her anymore because she won't be allowed in the church.
No,
because we had guys, spoiler alert, premarital sex.
Dude, I had that on a very, very smaller scale with my first girlfriend in high school.
Yeah.
Her family was super religious, and I was not. and they weren't a fan of how much I wanted to suck on her huge titties.
Brother. They don't understand the attraction to titties and ass. They don't get it.
They do so, yeah.
They don't account that. That's
no,
not
and
a
I
rule change.
remember I was like dating her, and I remember she kind of floated it out there that like her parents were not a big fan of me because I was like,
well,
I was a little bit of a hellion.
So at this point, I have interacted with her in real, and I also was working at Hollywood Video at the time.
Yeah.
And she was kind of a regular. I didn't realize it until afterwards. She's like, I've seen when she saw my car pull up to Starbucks one time. No, her
your
Dom.
wife.
Yeah, she noticed. She's like, wait, do you work at the Hollywood Video on 9th Street? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I go to the place all the time. So then I started wiping out the late fees. Right? So now when the family's coming in, now the whole family, now that's a good first impression of like, don't worry about it. I got it.
This is why I know Pat's got...
But they didn't know we were dating at the time. They knew that I liked her. They knew that I worked at Hollywood Video, and they knew that I was a friend of a friend. But they didn't know that we were...
This, by the way, is how I know Pat is a magnificent lover.
Brother.
Because Pat...
Such a considerate boy.
Well, because also, too, you got to understand, you're looking at Pat as the smallest, short of childhood. You're like,
I've been smaller.
Yeah, but like you're also too. It's just like, hey, I'm an overweight pothead that works at a video store, and then your wife was like, "I'll leave my religion."
I had no aspirations at that point either. I was in a band, but the band was nowhere. I mean, like I wasn't a comedian at the point, but like,
because when your wife loves you,
brother,
and when you
we love each other.
When you talk to Pat's wife, you're like, does he know hypnosis? What is it?
Yeah, she is in love with me, and we say it all the time. We have such an incredibly strong relationship. We have been married for 16 years, and this is why I'm saying all of this is when we were telling them like, no, I think this is serious. He really. Like at that point, we had kind of known each other for like 2 years.
I was gonna say, what's the married for 16 years together for like
talking
20?
to each other? Talking to each other every day for like 2 years at this.
Oh,
point.
really?
Hanging out every night. We would go for long drive because when she was at work, she would just essentially work a lot. So whenever she'd go on a break, I'd come and hang out. We'd sit on a coffee break, whatever, and then on the patio with all the Vietnamese people playing cards.
As they do.
I mean, they were loud. So,
brother, I've been to a casino in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Brother,
I know how they get.
Yeah, you know.
Well, mine were Chinese, but
yeah, I'll tell you what. Sitting in chairs though, really nice. They were.
Well, have you heard of the China buses and Bethlehem?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They just bring them in from New York. And
yeah.
shit.
For anyone who doesn't know, a bunch of Chinese immigrants will take a bus twice a day
just to gamble.
And then when you take the bus, they give you like a $50 voucher. So you just sell that $50 voucher.
Yeah.
And then, the next bus doesn't come for 6 hours. So I guess you got to go hang out and you put your feet in the coin in the fish pond. Dude, I was there one night after a show. We went, one of my buddies who's not a comic was like, you gotta come to this bar in the casino, which I never would if it wasn't like someone asking me to.
Yeah.
And then I was like a little hammered. I was like, yeah, let me go take some time, get some food. I go into the food court. It's just me, like 10 other white people, and no less than 80 Chinese people playing chess and checkers and just sleeping in the food court.
Yeah.
So many Chinese people. And I'm just there like eating a cheesesteak hammered like, this is what you guys do every day. Okay.
This is where they rest.
Oh. Again, I mean, this is probably better than 18 people to a 2-bedroom apartment.
It's air conditioning.
Yeah. Cooler stuff to look at.
Cooler stuff to look at. Great colors. So yeah, basically we're kind of living in secret for like 2 years, but
that made it fun though, right?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't necessarily. I think she was knowing that if she committed to me, that she would have to leave her family. Like, was very hesitant. So we were those first 2 years were legitimately hanging out every day, make out every once in a while, but a lot of just hanging out, listening to music, going to shows together, like literally just forming such a strong friendship.
You weren't doing a lot of
we weren't. Like, it was like legitimately, brother. We did this in the best way possible.
You fully corrupted your wife because literally, dude, I remember when I was living here, I was like, I need ideas for an anniversary present. And your wife's like, I hope I'm not revealing too much. But she,
No,
but
it
she
is
was
really funny that was her first
but
suggestion.
She was like, dude, the first suggestion. I was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this lady? Nah. But no, her first suggestion is like, so they sell this vibrator where you get one on your end. Your end's like a pocket pussy, and then you send her the dildo, and then
because it was a long distance thing.
It's like a long distance.
She was thinking of your guys' fucking freak on. She's like, I know a freak on is important.
You know what it is? I get old school. I get like I'll go on panties and talk about.
He blushes,
talk about the grossest stuff, but when it's like stuff involving my wife, I get very prude about talking about it in public.
Yeah, it's not. It's a thing though, like where like we have talked so many hours, and like this is another thing with the Jehovah's Witness thing. If like, because on multiple occasions, especially like as soon as she got disfellowshipped, I was like, I'll fucking just splash me. I'll do it. Just make me one of you.
Oh,
and
really?
And she's like, yeah. She's like, it's not that easy. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, you have to study. And I was like, ugh.
You're like, read?
Like, no. And it's almost worse. You have like a tutor essentially, and like it's essentially just talking to a religious person for an hour and a half or however long.
A bunch of times.
Like a bunch of times until you remember all the
so they basically get you to like, it's like low grade brainwashing and memorization. Not to sound dramatic.
No. It's more like here's what our answer, because like the thing about Jehovah's Witnesses, and this is why like a lot of times like this is why they're knocking on your door. This is why they're talking to you, is because they are like legitimately going like no, like we got to tell you our translation. This is how we interpret it. And like they really are like no, but it's perfect. Even though, and I will say this has nothing to do with the people in the religion or whatever, but they are wrong a lot of times. And I'm saying this like factually in I'm gonna
not just like, oh, I don't think there's a God. It's like
no.
What you're saying.
No, this is not opinion.
Yeah.
They have predicted the end of the world multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times, specific dates and times, and the more times they've been wrong, the less specific they are about it.
Yeah.
So now what they do is they'll go around and they'll say, and this is truly what it's based in, is what they are really trying to do is trying to save as many people as they can, because they truly believe that when the world's end, like you don't have it's not like Catholicism. It's not like anything else. Like you need to get in this now. You need to start building up your points now.
Yeah.
Because like even some practicing Jehovah's Witnesses may not get into heaven. Like it's not. Like, it is like I think this is a 4,400 type scenario, or what is it? The 1444. The number of people that are allowed to get into heaven.
Oh, it's like 400,000 or something.
It's like 4,400. Yeah, I think. I don't know for sure, but the amount.
So being a Jehovah's Witness, you're always trying to stay on the leaderboard?
You're always trying to stay ahead of Armageddon.
Oh, no.
Essentially. You're trying to, like, essentially right now we're fucked. Because even if we said right now, you can't just go like, I'm Jehovah's Witness, I forgive myself and forgive me of all my sins. Like, you can't just...
Oh, yeah, they took out that super sick part of...
The super easy, nice,
about
convenient
Christianity.
part. You have to be, like, a little bit of Muz, you got a little bit of Scientology, you got like this weird devotion of,
dude, that's what rips.
You can't show the top of your head if there's a man in the house alone. Like you can't be in the house alone with a man unless your husband's home or another like male or something like that. No female Jehovah's can be
Jehovah.
Like none of the Jehovah's can be female ones can't be elders. Like no matter, like that was the thing. Her mom was so devoted. That's why they were in a mood, or they were in a situation where she was very much like devoted to say like, I need to be in this. This feels right. This is what's right for the family, because her mom kind of went in and out of it, but I felt like her mother kind of kept bringing her back into the thing. Plus, a lot of her family, she has a really big family.
Your wife's mom.
Yeah, she has a really big family, and a lot of them practice, but some of them don't.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you are a baptized Jehovah's Witness and you do something that is like unforgivable,
non-Jehovah,
they're the elders in your kingdom hall kind of do their little council thing, have a meeting. Essentially, if she would have said she would have stopped seeing me and then basically not been around me ever again, kind of thing, or not ever again, but essentially unless I came
not in like
to
a
Jehovah's,
romantic way.
like you got to stop all contact with him until he becomes, a practicing Jehovah's Witness and all this stuff.
Is this all based around like, dude, we're trying to go to heaven? Like
Yeah.
you're fucking up going to heaven.
This is a thing of like, we're not mad, we're just disappointed. But what we're gonna do is, if you decide that you're gonna stay with him, then we're gonna essentially kick you out of this club. Meaning, anybody in your family that is a part of this club is not allowed to talk to you, or they'll get in trouble. So that means they didn't come to our wedding. That means they didn't, I got, there was a couple times where they invited me over for functions, like in a sign of good faith to say like, no, we support your love and everything. It's just this fucking pesky religion. We just can't talk to our daughter. And it's like, and I'm seeing what it's doing to Dom.
Yeah.
Every day. So it's like, just every time I'm still trying to study. I'm trying my best to fake it into this fucking religion just to get her back in. You know what I mean? Just so I like.
Wait. Are you talking about currently or
No. This is
back in the day?
This is after.
Oh, when you were.
This is after they found out we were being together.
How long were you
intimately.
together before they found out?
2 years, like I said.
Okay, 2 years.
And then we got in, and then essentially,
and at first you were like, "I'll play ball because no one else will 69 with me."
Yeah, I was like, well, I'll just be. Well, even after she got kicked out, I was still like, if I can become one, then we can kind of.
Dude, that's how much I wanted pussy in 9th grade. With that same really.
Oh no,
No.
Yeah.
You just made me think of a me thing. That's how much I wanted pussy in 9th grade. Cause like I would only date a girl if I like. It's weird. I grew up like religious just to like fill in some boxes almost like, oh, this is your court mandated amount of time you have to do this.
Yeah.
That's to the point I was religious. But there was always that thing in me where it was like I would hook up with chicks if I got the opportunity, but if I actually dated, it would be with like a long-term mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm in 9th grade dating this girl and like, oh dude, she played dirty tricks too, because before we started dating there'd be a lot of like public BJs and stuff.
Oh.
And then we start dating and that shit just came to like a screeching halt. And I was like, well, I guess, and I wasn't happy about it, but I was like, I guess I'm gonna fucking marry this chick. I guess I'll learn to be, because I just want to suck on those big titties. But dude, that's how much I wanted pussy in fucking 9th grade that I was like, I guess I'll just have to marry this girl.
Well, I was like, I mean, from the minute I saw her in person, I had the thought that I wanted to marry her. Like already, legitimately. We had talked a little bit through Facebook, like a little like online and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like us meeting in person, I was just like, man, she is awesome. I knew immediately. So like that was a thing of like, I was very clear. I had been up until that point. I had been very, I'll just hang out in the friend zone until you're ready to just be with me. And like I'd made it clear to her, like, I think you're awesome, and I will do everything I can to be with you.
Yeah.
But like, just to be clear, I want to be with you like that. Like
hardcore.
And she was really trying to fight the urge of being with a normie, like a worldly person, what they call worldly people, because she knew the consequences, and she had like just dedicated herself because she had gone through some trouble in the past with her family. And had been out of the house and stuff like that. And her mom said the only way she would be allowed in the house is if she was practicing and got baptized. She decided to get baptized. So now you're in it. You're practicing. You're baptized. If you fuck up now, it's out of my hands essentially.
So this moment, your wife realizes she's gonna completely throw this wrench into her life when she met you. Was that before or after the "rats off to you" tattoo?
Oh, I had that. Yeah, I already had that.
I'm just picturing, and I know there's like easy fat jokes and stuff, but I'm just picturing. I'm picturing you with like
dressed like this. I had a beard. My voice was probably a little higher. I think I smoked cigarettes at the time.
It's just you. It's just
That's
giant you. Yeah. You've got like green spiky hair, and I'm sure you had like camo shorts and all your fucking mismatched tattoos.
Lots of
Dom's sitting there just like, He's absolutely perfect.
Is that a no effect shirt that's really tight?
Oh my God, is he breathing heavily?
So there's like there's a thing where like I don't know, again, this is another thing that's a little fuzzy. I think like her parents found out that we were together, and I don't know if they ratted us out or if like they were like, you have to talk to the elders or something, but somehow these fucking 4 crusty ass old fucks at some Jehovah's Witness temple are sitting here going like, okay, so you had like they're talking about our relationship to her, like saying like, okay, you have a choice, like if you fucking stop being with them, like you cannot be with them, or if you're gonna be with them, that means you're out of it. And
how old are you guys at this point?
I don't know if, I believe 21. I think I was 21 and she was 20.
That's crazy. You like meet a guy, and then you have to sit down with 4 old men you don't know very well.
That's what I'm saying. Is like that's the part where I'm like, that's gross.
Yeah,
that's fucking weird.
It's weird.
And gross.
It's crazy.
It's our personal fucking life. And I said like in Jehovah's Witnesses, essentially, and again from my observation, is they just bring in 4 crusty ass old motherfucking middlemen.
Yeah.
Like it's not about your connection with God. It's about your how are you viewed by these, and this, there's a black guy, so it's multicultural. There's no women though. Only men sitting here going like, well, you're having premarital sex, you 20-year-old harlot.
Yeah.
Well, like there's no real repentance. You'll still be in trouble. But if you want to talk to your family ever again, you can't ever speak to this man again. Like, or you can't get until he gets right with us. I don't remember the exact stipulation, but essentially it is, if you don't cut this relationship off right now, then that's it. So
can I ask you, this is a random side question.
She didn't cut it off and she got kicked out.
Yeah. Wait. Pause real quick, because I just thought of it. Did you get... What?
Let's pause.
Pause. Stanley, come here.
Get over here.
We need to show him pause.
Give him pause, brother.
God damn it, dude.
Give him some pause, bro.
Oh, my God. That was crazy.
Give me some pause.
No.
Okay.
I will not look you in the eyes the rest of the episode.
I'm just going to go with that.
By the way, did they learn to buy cool-ass hats in there? This is the second cool hat you've been wearing.
No, this is just like one of those free hats that Lemaire got. Guess what? I fucking took one, too.
Oh, those shitty-ass hats he stole?
That's why I'm wearing it backwards. I want to give that fucker the...
Oh, that's funny. That hat works for you.
I do like it.
But, no, did you find a lot of people, like... Did in their experience, was it often that, like, full-grown people who had never been Jehovah's Witness would join?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's my like the thing I get. It's like the older I get, the more I'm like, I always wonder if there's a lot of people in these religions who have like a sneaking suspicion that it might not. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but like I always just get amazed by how many people never take the time to like really question it. And I think, because I always think there's this, that whole being excommunicated. It's like it goes completely against your self-interest to question it. So it makes me want to be like, I feel like it's harder to get someone into this shit as an adult. But
like, yeah, it wasn't like you have no choice, you are out of here. It was like you can make a choice. You can end this relationship right now and you can get right with Jehovah and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Or like if you continue, then you will be, and it's like, all right. And then she ended up coming into like there was an issue with personally what I feel like, no matter the age of the person, there are some older people that convert. There's some people that maybe, I think there's a lot of people that dip in and out. It's kind of it's got a kind of a, until you get baptized, they don't baptize children. They let you make the choice. So I don't know if I can't remember if there's an age limit or not, but there is a choice where you don't get just baptized as soon as you're awake. You have to make the choice to get baptized.
From there.
So now they're putting the guilt back on you. So now if she goes, like they said, you got baptized, you made this decision, but it was really under these conditions. If you are practicing, you can come back into our home. Like it was kind of conditionary, but Dom did make the choice to say, like, I need to get right with
Was she still living with her parents when she skedaddled?
So she had moved out recently. This was an issue that she had, that I got way more mad at Dom, or at this lady, than Dom did. But she was had a roommate that was a Jehovah's Witness, and when she got disfellowshipped,
You got mad at a roommate.
the roommate said that basically she has to. Yes, yeah, it was like, since you've been disfellowshipped, I can't live with you, so now you gotta get fucking get the fuck out, essentially.
Scoot, bitch.
And also expected her to pay like rent or something like that. And I was just like,
Till the lease was up?
no, just for like that month or something. And I was like,
You're like,
fuck that. I was like, no, fuck her.
Yeah.
She's breaking your lease. Like, she's kicking you out of the house. Like, you don't owe her anything. She's
Yeah.
breaking a contract. So I said, so she ended up coming to live with us, my mom and me, and my stepdad. So like, it was basically she moved into my room, essentially.
Your brother wasn't there, though.
No, it was just us.
He was still getting his lunches made, though.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry.
He has been out of the house for a long time, but he still, to this day, had his mom bring him either breakfast and or lunch.
I'm not trying. I mean,
I'm telling you,
there's
brother,
plenty of stuff to make fun of
it
my
is-
family about.
That is my oldest brother,
It's
and that
so
is my
funny.
fucking mom, and I love them. They're great. But you know what?
Pat
Jesus
was
Christ.
in the middle of a conversation one day, and we were talking about families, and that was a side fact on a bigger conversation. And I went, wait.
Yeah.
Your mom makes your brother lunch, and he lives in a different building.
Yeah.
I go, that's crazy.
It is nuts. So like I said, like this is.
I thought my parents letting my brother live at home into his 30s was enabling.
It's crazy. Well, this was, and we're getting like this is we're in our 20s. So
Yeah.
like I'm like at this point I'm like I've moved out a couple times, but I've had to move back in a couple times.
Sure.
And now we want to save. So we're essentially now we're like, okay, I know I want to marry her.
Yeah.
I obviously have proposed. I
Yeah.
got a ring and all this other stuff, but we wanted to get married.
You practice
relatively
getting
soon.
down on one knee.
no, I just kind of did one of these. I was like, hey, here, do you want this? Actually, I did it right before the Dark Knight premiere.
Wait, you did yours around a movie too?
Yeah.
Did I tell you how I proposed?
Uh-uh.
We were watching Heavyweights.
Mine's way cooler. I had Heath Ledger Joker.
Well, Ben Stiller didn't kill himself. Your guy did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he
That's
found,
why it's cool. What?
Because he found out you guys were getting married.
If I could get the
He was like, that goes against Jehovah. No, we were watching Heavyweights, and there was a scene with Ben Stiller's parents, and then my wife randomly throws out, she's like, oh, by the way, I'm easily 6 to 10 high lives in.
Yeah.
And I had already like bought a ring by then. And I just was trying to figure out when I was going to ask her to marry me. And she brings up this fun. She's like, you know, Ben Stiller's parents have been married for 60 years. I go, I'm hammered. I go,
Oh my God. Perfect setup.
dude, she goes, you know, they've been married for 60 years. And I go, I'm hammered. I just go, that's light work. I'll marry you for fucking 120 years. And then she goes, you're not going to marry me. And I just go, and I go, you want to bet? And she was like, what? And I get up and I leave the
Damn.
room. And then I turn the movie off. I put on Love Again by Run the Jewels, which is about loving a girl so much you just want her to suck your dick and eat her pussy all day.
That's wonderful.
And I put that on. She was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Why you get so romantic?
Yeah. Right? She's why are you doing the most romantic fucking thing ever right now?
All right.
Why are you being so fucking romantic?
What's fucking happening?
Why are sparks going off right now? Andy, you've never been this romantic. What's going on?
For anybody that doesn't know, that is a perfect Steph impression. That is exactly what she sounds like.
You broke me on. Why are you being so romantic?
Wait, it's so fucking romantic.
What is this? You're never this type of
What is
lovey-dovey bullshit ever. Why are you being so fucking romantic? Why are you being so fucking romantic? And then I get down on one knee. She does the girl shit where she's like, nuh-uh, no. And then I whip the ring out. She's like,
Dude, that is fucking perfect.
yeah, it was pretty sick.
Yeah. If it wasn't for all that weird family trauma and stuff like that, I feel like I would have been more inspired to make it like a big thing. But I kind of just laid next to her in bed, and I was like, look what I got. Because at this point we were already like we
Talked about it a bunch.
We have to get married. Like
Yeah.
now we have to get married so we can make it right, so she can get back in. So then she can do the "you can't fire me, I quit." So like that was the plan.
Oh, so she was gonna get back in.
We're just trying to get back in just so we can go. Oh yeah, well, now we're
And then
because
they
if you're
don't,
just not practicing,
and then they don't have any bullshit rule to kick you out.
and you're just inactive. So she wanted to get active so she could get inactive, essentially. Because at this point, like, it's been.
And then you guys got a little.
I mean, we stayed active. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Let's just say Mom was complaining about the noise.
let's just say it's one of. Pat, stop fucking for a second. What do you want for lunch?
Pat, why are you being so fucking romantic in there? Steph?
Pat, are you having premarital sex with that Mormon bitch again?
We're getting married. Shut up.
I'm making lunches. Stop pounding her out. What do you want for lunch?
So we have but in this meantime, we're trying anything we can to get back in. No, at this point,
Wait, what?
I start practicing or studying with a gentleman named Lewis, who was.
Oh, so you're like learning the shit.
I scheduled like literally to go fucking study. Like that's what it's called. What they're doing when they come to your door is to like go, hey, have you heard the good word? Here it is. It's bird. And then they go, JK, it is JC. Not really. It's Jehovah. That's just his son. He's just a regular guy. That's what we believe. So can we just study some more with you? And they try to basically, it's door-to-door viral marketing where they're just trying to get in there to teach you some more about what they believe. And that's
open the door here. Boop, 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 boop. Have you taken in the good word of Jehovah?
So they have a. So basically, now I'm kind of studying a lot of it, and basically what it was is, no matter what, and this is always where it comes down to, and I feel like such a dickhead, but I am in my 20s at this point, and I do feel like a dickhead because there was a lot of points where I'm sure I was making faces, and there's a lot of things where I'm like, yeah, but what? Like what? You really just yeah, like
you in the
rolling
corner
my
going
eyes,
like,
but legitimately, I'm trying to. And this is the thing about them is like they have this translation that they have been learning and they're taught, and they think that the issue is you just don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's like that thing where it's so condescending and it gets so frustrating, but it gets down to a point where again, like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I was on this one or the last one, but my dad killed himself when I was 8 years old.
Yeah,
and he was also a gay man.
A gay man.
So he obviously, I'll never ever see him again. Best case scenario, I'm the best Jehovah's ever. I'm a best witness. I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing every Jehovah, and I'm top of the list. I'm the elderest elder of all.
Yeah.
I will never ever see my dad again.
Yeah.
Ever in any lifetime ever. Like there's no other lifetime. It's just you'll get the kingdom. But they're like, but essentially he was trying to convince me that I wouldn't care. And it's just like I kind of care. Like. I don't have
No, he's like my dad. You know how like kids have.
I love that guy. He was great. He was like 50% of my parents.
You're like, no, you make a good point. 8-year-olds that lose their dad, they don't really form an attachment to him in any way. You don't start to gain an attachment to your father at the most formative years of your life.
Yeah, those aren't the most formative ever.
It's just a guy in a fucking white button down, be like, who was he anyway?
But I do appreciate the fact that they're like not. They don't necessarily. They're still sugarcoating it, but they're doing it like they're like, nope, this is really what. They're not like we don't know. They're like, no, we know.
They're like, this is
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
This is what they told us is exactly
and
it.
That is always my biggest complaint in religious shit. Is whenever they're like preaching the message, it all sounds like a vague hype video. They never get down to like specifics, and I go like. If this is I was like, why are you guys constantly dancing around the word of God? Like, what is it?
Yeah. And this is the thing about it, too. If you watch a lot of Jehovah's Witness videos, the best, in my opinion, and this is an interesting thing that I was experiencing while in, like, kind of being introduced to this, is I learned a lot about, like, some of the things, like, first of all, they explicitly ask you not to Google Jehovah's Witnesses.
Like, first off, don't learn anything about this.
It's crazy because they want to be the information. It is very old world in that sense of like, we'll translate it for you. We're going to teach it to you.
Yeah.
Because what happens is a lot of times is, I don't know if you watched any of these videos, but of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses explaining their experience.
Yeah.
It's like they cut off in essentially, let's say you're doing something that's not right with Jehovah. You've strayed from the path. Instead of this support network helping you back onto the path, they cut off your entire support system and everybody you've been conditioned to hang out with.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to you're allowed to work and you're allowed to go to school, but they don't pledge allegiance to the country. They don't believe in worshiping a cross, any kind of symbolism like that. It is just strictly about their devotion to Jehovah. And what it really is like,
and Jehovah's
if you,
God.
Yes. And
Yeah.
if you stray from that path, like now you have taken, because you don't really want people associating with worldly people because it could tempt them into not being a Jehovah's Witness and not believing only 100% what this group of elder men are translating for you.
Do Jehovah's Witnesses get into government at all?
I don't believe so because they don't. They also don't vote. They don't believe in voting. Because that's how little they actually put into like anything like that. And you know what they do? Because they also don't celebrate holidays.
Yeah.
What they do on those holidays, what for the most part,
Because they still get the day off.
They still take the day off, Andy. And guess what they do? They go to fucking theme parks.
Really?
Yeah. I actually personally experienced celebrating Thanksgiving with my fucking in-laws, or my soon-to-be in-laws. Dominique was not invited because she was still disfellowshipped.
Mm-hmm.
But
you went?
About a couple, let's say like a week or so before Thanksgiving, I was invited over to their families, her grandmother's house, to come celebrate Thanksgiving with them.
Alone?
They had myself with the whole family.
And no Dom.
No Dom. So
why?
Because they love loopholes. This is when they sprinkle in a little bit of Judaism. They do one of these. They go, we had turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole, rolls. I mean, it was fucking banging. But it was about like a couple days before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Thanksgiving, Andy.
Yeah.
It wasn't Thanksgiving.
Well, that was
because that would be blasphemy.
No, I know.
But turkey's still on sale. So like they still totally benefit from these like.
I mean that I gotta respect. Just going to the supermarket every day.
But wouldn't you want to do charity? Wouldn't you devote that time to Jehovah and go preach? Because guess what? Go knock on somebody's house on fucking Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Go like, hey, have you heard the? Guess what? We're gonna throw you in the turkey fry.
It's gonna be bad to PR.
Right.
Wasn't no, because I was. It was funny you made that comparison to Jews and their lovely loopholes, because wasn't that part of the whole history of it, where it's like they just made up a fake. I watched a video today about it where it's like they made up a fake history about like a settlement of Jews in North America back in the day or some shit like that. Yeah, it's like they said something about like Jews settling in like pre-America times that they just completely made up apparently.
Wow.
That was I'm probably getting parts of that a little bit off, but yeah, that's always my favorite. It's always my favorite part about Judaism and any of those religions, where you go like, yes, there's this cosmic being that's multidimensional or whatever the fuck you say it is and all this other shit. But, you know, if you just get him on a technicality, he'll be like, can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's like that's probably not what he meant at all.
You're also not supposed to drink in excess. But, brother, like they are some diehard football fans. They're some diehard football fans that like to get turned. And they all kind of have nice houses.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them, not all of them, I think what it is like they think that, and this is not what, I'm not saying this about any of the Jehovah's Witnesses that I know personally, but what I saw from some of these people, I feel like is they'll have like, I like, again, how many people over the age of 30 are joining the thing? I think it's people that are like, I was in the army. I thought that was going to be my thing, but that didn't really turn out right. This, it's like people that are either a little like they're legitimately either lost or they're sometimes women that have been in abusive or neglectful relationships in the past, and they find like kind of like this is nice because I have the security of this community. I have this like, and because again, they're only allowed to hang out with each other. So guess what, brother? Yeah, that's your fucking hang.
Well, I think that's actually. I was reading. I was gonna say there's a Joaquin Phoenix movie. I forget what the fuck it's called, but he's like a dude who's like he's a fucking criminal pervert doing all this bad shit, and then he winds up on this boat, and he ends up realizing it's by this religious dude is like this religious cult leader's running it, and he kind of ignores some telltale signs because he's like, I'm living easy right now.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of groups do that. Where I was reading Malcolm X's autobiography. And that's what he was saying. The Nation of Islam, when he would take a break of blaming the white man for everything, which he had a lot of good points.
I gotta tell you.
especially in the '60s, he had a lot of really good points.
Brother.
But it was also a thing too, where like he got into it because he got into it in prison. Because he was a dude who, like, he was like a pimp. He worked at a brothel. He did all this shit. And then when he gets into prison, they're like, can't drink, can't smoke. He was, like, feeling better, feeling more productive. And then when he would go do Nation of Islam shit, when they were trying to get people into the group, they would find people who were, like, drug addicts.
Yeah.
And they would give them a space to, like, completely rehabilitate them. So they would have, like, this positive association with the Nation of Islam.
And it can be, like, that's, again, there are good things that can be a part of it. That community is nice, but it's so restrictive, and it can be so restrictive in that sense of, like, if you start doing unworldly things, it gets treated like it gets treated more like a Desperate Housewives episode, but the housewives are all old men, and they essentially they either throw wine in your face or they let you go back into the group. Like they go like, but we're watching you.
Yeah.
You know? Like, dude, her sister had an issue where she just didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
Yeah.
So like she just stopped associating with people. She didn't want to do that or whatever, but she never like said, I'm not doing this anymore.
She just became distant.
She just didn't want to do it. So they essentially found her out and kicked her out. So like I was saying earlier, they like to change rules. Well, her Dom being disfellowshipped, she eventually got back in. It was so fucking awkward going into that place. It was never felt welcoming because every time I'd go in there, because I would go to service. I would go to like the fucking Kingdom Hall for like their meetings and stuff like that. That's what they're called, meetings. So you go to meetings and you go in there, and essentially it is they kind of like have a demonstration of like they'd have some speaking. They have like a theme for the night, but then they also have legitimately this guy gave a talk on like how to like here's some scenarios that like if they say, oh no thank you today, blah blah blah. Essentially like how to keep your foot in the door and how to like make sure you keep them talking, blah, blah, blah. It's like almost like tactics. That wasn't the whole thing, but that was a part of it that I was like, that's weird. That really stood out to me. But when we would go when she was disfellowshipped, and it was so awkward because nobody would talk to her, but they would greet me like nothing was different.
That's weird.
And it's so fucking weird and creepy. And Dom would just try not to cry. We'd sit all the way in the back. We just like essentially.
So she'd be in the room and everyone would be ignoring her.
Right. Yeah. And I'm trying to.
Like if you were standing right next to her, they'd walk up. They'd say
hi to me.
Hi Pat.
Hey, what's going on? Oh, how's it going? Blah blah blah. And
it was just a bunch of people Dom had known forever.
Yep.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's the kind of
that's the thing that I'm like. That is, I don't give a shit who the fuck you are. That to me is one of those scenarios where I'm like, why would you ever want to come back here? And she honestly, at that point, she did not. By the end of it, she didn't want to come back to. She just wanted to get back to so she could talk to her fucking family.
Dude,
again.
That's the kind of shit where it's like. That's why I hate like there will be like okay, I got pulled over a couple months ago, and the dude like you could hear it in his voice. He was like, "This is so fucking gay. I'm so sorry I'm doing this."
Yeah.
But it's like
I'm real.
He's like, dude, I'm sorry. And it was like basically the car in front of me. They had a tree in front of the stop sign. So the car in front of me kept going.
Yeah.
And I literally didn't see the stop sign, so I kept moving. He's like, yeah, it's like a rolling stop and stuff. I just gotta let you know, da da da. And I was like, oh, I'm just I don't live here. I'm just doing DoorDash or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna give you a warning, but we're gonna. And it gets to a point where you're like, or you could just. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You
why do you even have to write the warning?
You could just ignore this whole moment. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. It's not the best example, but there are things where it's like, if you're sitting there going like, I feel so fucking lame for this, you're like, then don't do it.
This is the fucked up thing, right? So like the elders are the one that decide that you're disfellowshipped, but like I don't think as from all of the time that I've spent with her family, with her going to meetings, studying, doing any of that stuff, I don't think I've ever heard like anybody getting kicked out because they talk to their family. And now with all due respect, and I want to at least like not completely, I don't want it to seem like I'm demonizing her family. They were always very welcoming to me. They were always but I think they were just so devout, or at least determined to stick with it.
So deep, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Deep
like,
in the weeds on it.
I wouldn't even say, because like I don't even know, because even still, like when her sister ends up getting disfellowship years later, you know, they don't really stop contact with her. Actually, I think they even lived with her for a time. Like they and like, so like even I think even still now she is still disfellowshipped. See, but they have since changed the rule now, because I think so many people are going, this is such an awful, terrible thing to have.
We're doing to people.
Yeah, why would you ever do this, to say like, these people do this? But even if Dom, like, so her mom did call her a couple of times. She didn't come to our wedding, but on our wedding day, when we were outside taking pictures, they pulled up and stopped and like hugged her and said how beautiful she looked. They saw her on her, but they like, that's almost worse. You know what I mean? Like, cause like, you just come to the fucking wedding.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that.
You can't spend like but again, this is bringing up a lot.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. No, it's like stuff like that. And then mix that with the fact that, like you just said, you're like, oh, we have to excommunicate our daughter. But it's like, we're talking to him anyway.
Yeah.
And then it's the whole, like, you're not supposed to drink. And you're like, we get hammered anyway.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you're not supposed to have holidays. Yeah, we'll just eat turkey a week earlier.
Yeah.
And it gets, like, you get, this is the thing.
You're just finding ways.
I'm not, but it's like, I'm not even saying this as, like, anti-religion. But it's just a thing. It's just a way of maneuvering through life in general that has always driven me crazy. And it's why I get so fucking irritated, because it's like, I'll point these things out, but then everyone wants to be like, no, we just follow these fake rules so there's a sense of order. And I go, no one's following them. So you look like a dickhead for pointing it out. And it's just like, I'm not even anti-religion, but like clearly the way you guys are all doing it is fucking retarded, because no one's even following the rules whatsoever.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, is you're just figuring out ways that you can like trick your creator, or like even your intentions are what is most important. What kind of like, I lived a more Christian life than my coworker. This entire time we're in this relationship, I'm working with this guy named Talone at this medical supply company. And he is a fucking dog, dude. He's sleeping around. He's fucking around in his car. He's doing all this other shit, blah, blah, blah. And like this whole time, until he eventually finds a lady, settles down, and all this other stuff. But like that didn't happen until like later on. And he's just like, and I'm like,
Talam's wife's listening to No More Heroes.
But no, I joked around, like, even about like that whole time when like I'm getting to know him, of like, because I can't remember, I said something. I joked about God being dead or something. I can't remember what it was.
That's so funny.
And he did this thing.
I just made a quick little God's dead joke.
He did something where he's like, hey, he did that thing where like, hey man, don't joke about that. And I was like, because we joked about everything. Like he would make fun of me for being fat. I would make fun of him for being black. And we would have like, dude, if there was an HR, we would be
bro. That's
warehouse work. Yeah,
that's literally. I mean, I couldn't
calling each other F words.
Dude, I couldn't go the first at my last job. I couldn't go the first hour of the day without threatening one of my friends that I'd fuck their mouth or something.
Right. So
yeah, that was my. That's why I never got work done. I'd basically be podcasting with people all day.
I essentially with him was like kind of like, I just said that to like it was legitimately like, I don't even believe that. I'm not a atheist or whatever.
Yeah, you're saying
he was just like a thing where he's just like, whoa, he can hear you. Kind of thing. Like that's what he was saying. Like, dude, shut up. Like, even if you're joking, it's not funny.
It's so funny.
So like it was so cute that I was just like, but I'm like, dude, I am like me and my wife are in like me and her have been committed to each other, even that whole first 2 years, like where we weren't really like anything technically official. I wasn't like I was devoted of like it's her as my wife or my girlfriend,
Yeah.
or like us not being around. Like that's legitimate because like I can't stand like she's awesome. Like this is
Oh, that actually not to derail this. Hopefully I don't. But that reminded me of a side thought when you were saying that earlier. It's like because I think a lot of people. Dude, have you talked to some of the younger people now about like Hinge and shit? I go, it sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
I was talking to what's his last name, Andrew Pitt or whatever. I forget his name. But we were doing a show and he was giving me he's a young dude. Or no, he's 30 and he's single. And he was giving me the rundown on Hinge and how you have to like work it properly and do all this shit. And I just go, how is this better than just meeting a random chick at a bar?
brother. Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's like, but no, it's like the modern dating scene seems psychotic. And it's like, dude, just do shit. Do your life, leave the house, join a club, join the gym, and you're eventually going to meet someone that you guys click, and you're going to go, I want to hang out with you all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not complicated. If she's being weird about texting you back, keep it moving.
And brother, working at the movie store, like giving her free rentals or like suggestions of like, oh yeah, you should check this out. If she's having a bad day, like give her some candy, like shit like that. Like anything like where
You were
like,
having a bad day, steal some candy.
yeah, have some Butterfinger bites, maybe some nips.
You realized you missed breakfast, get a Crunch Bar.
But there's like there's all these things where like we are gaining such a strong friendship relationship.
Well, even though the sneaking around probably actually helped your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, it never felt like we were like hiding. But it definitely, we had our like.
But
here's what time. We had to do it at certain times.
You had to do it in a certain way.
Yeah.
Where, like you just said, it's like you couldn't just be like, "Oh, what are you doing tonight?" You're like, "No, tonight's when we." Actually, that's funny. That kind of happened with me and Steph because when we first met, I was a Black Israelite, and and I go, "They hate that you're fucking Polish."
And you kept telling her to lick your boots.
No, because I was working in a kitchen, and I had been doing comedy for 2 years at that point.
Yeah.
So like my nights were spent either working. There was only one night a week I didn't work or go to an open mic.
Yeah.
That's why Steph came with me to a lot of open mics when we first started dating, because it was like, I'm available. You can be around. You can be near me on a Monday, a fucking Wednesday, or a Saturday. And Saturdays, if I wasn't booked, I'd usually go over to her place, get a little pussy, and then sleep over. And I remember the first time she let me sleep in, because the first couple times it was like, all right, we hook up. Well, you gotta get out of here. Da da da.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't want. And then there was one day she was like, I'm going to work. You sleep in. I go, ooh,
she trusts me.
I'm gonna
go through all of her underwear.
Things.
No, there's plenty of times where like like I said, we end up, getting her back in. We get her, and then she kind of like, reunites with her family, all this other stuff.
How long was she separate?
I think it was like a year and a half.
That's
like,
weird.
It's like it was.
Is this still 21, 22?
Yeah. So we got married when I was 22 and she was 21. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We were young babies, but again, like we both genuinely knew that like this was my person. This was like who it was. So like that's why like every time it was really hard for me to personally shake the thought that, like you said, that like her family absolutely must think I'm the devil, because I've taken her away from their religion and I've taken her away from them and all this stuff. They obviously don't view it as your choice. They view it as her choice, and I've corrupted her, and she's never going to come back, and blah, blah, blah.
Wouldn't it be funny if the elders were like, he listens to NoFX, and then one elder goes, yeah, but he listens to Pennywise.
Oh.
Which is his favorite album, though?
Yeah.
They're like from the
Ask them to name 3 songs.
Yeah. Patrick, name
And by the way,
3 songs.
By the way, their elders are like your fucking neighbors. They're like just dudes that either live in apartment buildings or they have a nice house. Or they have like they're just dudes that buy suits at fucking Pennies or Dillard's or
that's
some
why
shit.
it's like I don't know. I was clowning on the Beatles during Drag the Lake, but the obsession with the Eastern religions, I gotta be honest. The more we're learning about like how strict and fucking know-it-all that these Western religions are,
Yeah.
it really does put a lot of points in my mind in the Eastern religion basket.
Yeah, brother, like again, Buddhism is a thing where it's a practice. It's not like this. They just took so many of like the worst elements of like other religions or movements or things and added them to this new translation that is like it's really not that you know why they don't celebrate birthdays?
Why?
Because the only 2 birthdays in the Bible, people died. Isn't that crazy?
That's why you gotta.
They still don't do birthdays. I think they're just cheap motherfuckers. They only do. By the way. Oh. Let's talk about.
And we lost the whole app.
Let's talk about the worst thing ever. Is the fact that because of this fucking religion,
Baby rape.
being in it's not. It's worse than that. It's even worse than that because of this fucking religion and it being so deep rooted in this family. Guess what? Guess who's a terrible gift giver for most of our relationship?
Your wife.
Brother, oh my God. It was like a decade of like, oh, thanks. You know how hard it is to do that for fucking a decade? And you go like, oh, cool. You got me this is that cup I wanted. I don't remember. She got me a wallet one time. And I'm like, I don't need a wallet.
That's who gets you the wallet. Your wife gets you a wallet.
But I don't. I understand if I go like, oh man, my wallet's starting to rip. Like I haven't said a word wallet to you in that first decade.
But
she's like, I know. She sees it. And she goes, I see.
Pat, be honest with me. Was the original wallet she was replacing? Did it have Velcro on it?
No. It doesn't. It is technically an ID badge.
Technically.
Yeah.
Dude, once you start saying technically about your wallet, it's not good.
It's technically not a wallet.
It has
a change purse.
It's actually technically construction paper I folded in a really good way, and there's a lot of duct tape on it.
Hey, people do those duct tape wallets all the time. They like those. No, it's a thing.
No, I get that. So I never thought about that. Jehovah's Witnesses getting out of it
damaging.
Are going to be horrible gift givers.
Damaging. It's like one of those things of like you don't understand like the fun of Christmas. You don't get like I taught her.
Are the gifts?
And now I got to tell you, she is like the past couple of things that she's done for me has been so incredible.
How'd you teach her when they would open when the gift would be bad? You just go boo, or you throw up like a number.
No, there's a lot
You're
of
like, oh, the Florida judge gives her a 2 out of 10.
I had to. I couldn't stop hiding it. I think the thing was the wallet was like one of those things of like thanks.
Yeah,
you know, like one of those things of like later on, like I still have a lovely time.
It's hard.
I love her, but I can't like it. Then she notices I haven't used the wallet that she got me in a year.
Yeah,
and I haven't even opened it, and she's like, I guess I should return it. I'm like, it's just not really my thing. It's just like one of those things of like I don't know what to say, but the past like she has gotten to a point now where like she gets it. Like I think I don't know.
I appreciate bad gifts because of how my parents get me bad gifts. They clearly look at it and go, he's going to fucking love this.
And it makes me feel so bad.
But no. My parents will be like, he's going to fucking love this. And then for like one holiday, I get a coffee cup that says, I like my coffee on the dark side. I never talk about Star Wars ever.
Right.
But my dad's just like, he's going to fucking love
this. My God.
And I see that and I just go, I appreciate the joy it brought you getting me that.
Exactly, yeah.
And they're like, dude, I remember my mom, she went to Alcatraz and she got me like Alcatraz Hotel, 3 square meals a day, and I'm like, I'm never gonna wear this ever.
Brother, you know how long I had to tell my mom I had to tell her to stop getting me stuffed animals? I'm like, stop buying me stuffed animals. I don't want stuffed
That's
animals.
hilarious to get your son. It's one thing like I can like when my dad gets me a mug, it's just funny because it's like, dude, I don't watch Star Wars.
It's so funny. He probably held it up to your mom and was like, huh? Who do you right? And she
Andrew.
goes, Andy, right? And I go, yup. Like we saw it.
Just not. Andrew.
Yeah. He's like,
Obviously.
He's like, look what I found. She goes, perfect for Andy. Exactly what I was thinking.
But I gotta give it to him. It's a great
mug.
mug. I use it almost every day.
Yeah, I'll never, brother. If you get me something, I do appreciate that.
It'd be funny if she
gesture.
got you the wallet and you just go, I don't have any money, idiot.
You spent our last bit of money on this.
That's why I don't have a wallet.
But we got to a point where we started going to, like she really distracted herself, which is another funny thing because you're not allowed to read or watch witchcraft movies.
Oh yeah, she reads a lot, doesn't she?
So Harry Potter was not allowed. So when she was disfellowship, she read the entire series.
Oh yeah, she has like tattoos, right?
She loves Harry Potter.
Yeah,
that was a huge thing for her. Was that, and also she never really cared for cats. She ended up like I showed her the beauty of owning cats, and now she loves them.
Yeah,
like there's certain things where like it's perspective wise, but it's also like a thing where like you can't, and it's not just the religious part of it. I think if you're raised in a religion and if you don't feel like you fit in, stop trying to make yourself fit in and just find out where you fit in. Well, because that's the thing is like this ended up really weird and ugly. And I thought because of the rough life that Dom had before this did give her that stability, did get her back into the house and kind of did repair the relationship with her and her family. So like it did work, but then it immediately backfires.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and I think the problem runs into when it's like we have all the answers rather than here's some tools to make your life better. Where it's like
be on the path.
Well, it's like people who learn good nutrition versus people following their macros. And once again, I'm calling my wife out. Well, no, she knows good nutrition, but sometimes when she's like on her macros, she's like psychotic about it. And then it's like if we want to have just like inorganic, like the fucking word. Spontaneous. If we want to just have like a spontaneous, like, yo, let's get some fucking drinks and let's order some takeout, da-da-da. She then feels this like overwhelming guilt because it's like, well, I'm not following my macros. I'm going to ignore the fact that I went to the gym 6 days a week and I think fucking edamame is a snack. So,
yeah.
And I love peas.
Yeah, the guilt-driven.
And then it's like you can't have fun just having takeout.
Guilt-driven religion or guilt-driven anything is not. It's not.
It's the ones with like strict rules that just seem fucking stupid.
Well, this is that thing where like again you have so many of the correct things, but the reason people like do associate it with any kind of cult behavior is because of the cult shit that you're bringing into a Christian religion.
You're like, oh, like it's the reason people compare it to cults is the cult stuff you're doing.
Brother,
no disrespect.
With all this backstory, I'm gonna do a fun thing from my. I always call her in my act. I say that she was in a free range cult.
That's a fun one.
It's kind of like the Amish. The eggs are better.
That's how those survive, though. Yeah, they like loosen up the fucking straps.
They give you essentially enough rope to hang yourself. Like really, that's what it is. Is like it is you are a constant test. If you are living in the worldly world and you're not working for a Jehovah run business or by Jehovah's for Jehovah, then you are. Like,
no, that's a great sorry to cut you off, but that's a really good point where it's like the ones that last longer know when to like lay off the reins a little bit.
Yeah.
The Colts that crash and burn are the ones that like tighten it up and tighten it up.
Can't smoke, shave up, you fucking hippie.
Yeah.
And now you're still not allowed to smoke. Like, and again,
now the ATF's lighting you on fire.
And they changed the rule. Yeah, because there's no if there was a compound. But that's the thing is they do conventions, but they don't do compounds so much. So they like will have like every year I believe that is they have a thing where like they just in a usually Orlando I think or like there's other places I think they have them like all over they're all over the world.
This is going off what you're saying, but it's just making me realize like I don't want to be like disrespectful to religious people, but it's like the deeper you get into like the organized religions that go like this is exactly right, these are the exact rules.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, there's like forces in this world. I catch myself doing it all the time. I like vaguely run my life like there's some sort of being guiding me. But like when you get into these strict confines of these rules and these organized religions, it's like, dude, it's on par with the kin of just being like, no, Lord of the Rings actually fucking happened. You're like, it's just like, you know, you're having a full convention and like, it's not even like if you were having the convention to be like being more spiritual and a better person. No, you're having a convention based around the fact that this thing we've disproven, like, it's like, oh, no, Joseph Smith and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. This, you're like, no, it actually didn't fucking happen, man. It's so weird that, like, so many people will run their life under this, like, obvious fib because they're like, I have good structure.
When you start
that's why people crave structure more than anything.
And that's what it is. It's like, for as structure-wise, you got it.
Yeah.
But also, in that structure, there are like every little, like, there's Death Star fucking vulnerable points on each part. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, each one of them, they're like, can't smoke, but they're like, well, you know, what if I'm just drinking a little bit? And they're like, well, you can't get drunk. And you're like, yeah, but what if I just have like a couple? And you're like, okay, but now you're just allowing these things in, but then when somebody goes like, I think I want to marry this person, but he's a worldly person, and they go
that's
like,
when the rules
like,
really
whoa,
matter.
whoa. That is very clear, and it's just like, but we're like best friends.
Yeah,
like we have spent every night.
We
together.
actually probably love each other more than most people have ever loved each other.
Like, yeah, we know so much about each other.
Can I ask you a question that's going to sound random, but kind of correlates in my mind? How do you, when you wake up every day, how do you like approach your day? Do you have like a strict schedule, or do you go like, let's see what we're doing today?
I try to schedule it as much as I can. I try to plan out my week if possible, but in the day-to-day, like, I wake up, I have like aside from like I do kitty chores, like I scoop the poop, feed the cats.
Well, so I guess like
clean up,
because I have a general, I know what I'm doing every day this week, but I have a shit ton of wiggle room with everything I do. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just wonder if like, because I think the way you and me think is more indicative of we are people who, like, don't get me wrong, I don't like just random shit popping up, throwing off a whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we do ebb and flow more than the average person, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I wonder if that's why our way of being lends us to more thinking this way. Not even saying we're right, just that's more of what works for us.
We have more time to consider things. Like, it's not, we don't have to worry about so many structured routines, or like we don't have to worry about a ton of obligations day to day. Like, we've limited our so like people that have kids, and again the women, I feel like a lot of the women that I observed in the religion are either single women that joined the religion and then found a husband. Yeah. So like it's kind of a thing of like, it's almost like how Scouts is for single moms as well. Like, it's kind of like a support system of like
Scouts.
Like Cub Scouts.
Oh, okay.
Like, you go in, like, you can go in. Your kid has friends that they can hang out with.
There could be some positive male influences,
and also like they got to be good guys, right? This is church.
Yeah,
and it's like then you find
in both avenues.
And I really did.
They might rape them.
I was
trying to find a joke. But they might rape your kids in both of those.
No, and that's another thing. I didn't realize
Mormons weren't doing that too much.
The Jehovah's necessarily didn't. I didn't notice any kind of diddlers or creeps. There were like some people, like, just again, people are people. Yeah. Like, there were certain people that my wife or her sister would joke about, of being like, "Oh yeah, he's kind of weird. Like, we don't want to."
But they weren't putting up Catholic Church numbers.
No. There's no. As far as I know, there's no, like, that's the stuff of, like, that's what I'm saying is, like, I don't think they're bad people. I don't want to trash it, but it's like I do feel confident in saying I think they're wrong with the way that they do things.
I think you and me have a similar perspective where it's like we respect the like degree. They have a better degree of consistency than the other religions.
Yeah,
but they're like what they're selling comes off substantially more ridiculous than other religions.
I would argue the consistency thing because, like I said, they do change rules. Like again, now they are allowed to talk to disfellowship people. So now, like there's like certain things, but that is recently changed, and they're now allowed to grow beards. Like there isn't a religion like they couldn't be less consistent. They are somebody that is so about 15 or so years ago, 16 years ago, it was you knew. Like, this is what you're teaching. This is what you're preaching. This is what blah, blah, blah. You're going out there and you're saying that if you're baptized and you're disfellowship, you're not allowed to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wait a minute. We actually found this other part that we were reading, and we translated it wrong. That's our bad. So actually, you're allowed to talk to him. So it's like it's so fucking convenient that every couple years they just go, and it's. I don't know if they think it's progressive, but it's like, why would you have a religion that has multiple times tried to predict the end of the world and was multiple times very fucking wrong? Like, there's like, why? And then they just stopped calling their shot, and then you think they became more credible? So, like, why would you shut out your entire family because a complete stranger, essentially, this guy that you only know from church, and he's like, oh, he's great, Brother Johnson, he's a wonderful man. Like, you don't fucking know this guy. So, but this guy is going to decide who you're allowed to talk to,
dude,
including your own fucking blood. That's the thing where I go, like, I can say, without a doubt, from my personal experience, actually studying this, talking to them, living amongst them, married into them, they are very great people. They're very great people that are incredibly misguided. If they are, the more devout you are, the more misguided I think you are. I think if you do go for the community, to go there to have, to fill your spiritual cup, and you do believe the word, for sure. But if you are listening to these complete fucking strangers about who you should associate with, then I have to question your judgment, especially if they are baptized fucking people in your religion that, in your opinion, are not following the path. They're not following. You have strayed from the flock. And when you say that, when you go, what are you supposed to do? Instead of going to help them find their way back, you just go, I hope they find their way back. Anyway,
dude,
let's go. Keep going. It's like, what? These sheep are driving. I don't know why.
Who knows? Maybe they fucking...
Let's get the flock out of here. That's what I say.
Pet George, everyone.
Hey-o.
Like and subscribe.
I didn't come here to trash them. I just came to share my personal experience.
And I'm all out of bubble gum.
That's what they believe. Well, I guess I got some bubble gum.
Chill,
my ball.
That's okay. I caught a bat. You want to see?
My ball sack. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah. Pat, you're a big fan of balls, and I respect that.
I'm a big fan of big balls.
No, that's why, and I see it with, I've been getting way more in, ever since the attack on Iran, I've been getting way more into the Zionist stuff and talking about religion stuff.
Sorry, I've just entered my next form. I'm changing. Yeah.
But no, I've been getting into, the Zionist stuff, and... I noticed, and I'm sure you have the same problem with Mormons and shit like that, but you'll have these, arguments, and it'll feel like... It's one thing to disagree. It's another thing, when you'll hit them with a certain type of thing, and they'll just be like, oh, that's not... You're not, you're literally, listening past me. You're not...
Right.
We're trying to have, a real... And you realize...
They're like, no,
if someone...
You don't get it. And you're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's like the shit with... we joked about it before, where it'll just be shit... It's not even, half the time that they're lying. It'll just be, really disingenuous shit, where it'll be they'll be like, oh, Hamas is using kids as human shields. And they're like, and then they kind of chalk that up to so we gotta shoot them, and you're like,
no,
or you don't shoot the human shield. Right. You know what I mean? And and after a while, you start to realize it's
they're so evil.
It's like, dude, if you get someone to lock in on a belief system, it's more powerful than having the biggest gun in your arsenal, man. You don't need that. That's why Like when COVID happened and everyone found out they could be like a fucking Gestapo agent and shit like that. Not to be dramatic, but they figured out they could be like a fucking hall monitor and shit like that. Controlling someone's emotions in their mind like that is so much more powerful than just being like, I got this big ass gun, you're gonna do what I say. Because those people then are just going to go like, okay, and then they're going to go find a bigger gun.
Yeah.
But if you control the way people think, it's like you can make a family ignore rationality and on your kid's wedding day show up for a quick photo op.
And go like,
yeah, and it's like,
I hope nobody sees me hugging my daughter on her wedding day. Like,
that's
you know
the
what I mean?
thing where it's like,
it hurts so much.
It's the thing you got to like, people don't want to people like don't. I don't know what it is exactly. I mean, maybe if we do more religious stuff, I could fucking think more deeply on it. But it's not to say, because I do think there is a problem with modern people like making themselves their own God. But then also at the same time, you're like, you create this God of like, oh, you have to be super autistic and not break any rule because, that doesn't go contrary to human behavior.
Yeah.
And it's like you follow that thing and you just turn into, it's like, I don't know, it's like this weird thing where people are so afraid to just live with themselves. I actually got to give you props because it was like this weird, because I used to think you had this like level of nihilism. And then when we talked about it more, it was just this like contentness of not knowing, which I always kind of had, but the way you said it sort of phrased it better. And I go, that's a big thing of what it is, where people will seek an insane structure over an unbalanced, like they don't want to accept that you're like, oh, I don't know what that is.
But it's also like, it's a thing where like it gives the people that I feel like I don't want to kill myself, but I wouldn't mind dying. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a thing.
Dude, I've had that one recently where I was like, I'm the same way. I don't want to kill myself.
I have no desire to kill myself or harm myself or anybody.
If I found out this was forever,
oh yeah,
I don't know if I'd want to do this forever.
But my point is like essentially like is one of those things of like the people that I feel like are the most devout are the most scared of dying.
Yeah.
Like the people that are most... Well,
they've said that there's a lot of people... They've said that it's actually a good thing for your mental health to like sit and meditate and think about death. Because
I'm more thinking of like, I'm just excited to find out. Like, I know I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
And I know that like, there's no way for me to know what is the correct religion.
You are a bad boy though.
But what I do trust is that I'm not living in sin anymore. And that I truly my intent every single day is to not be a bother, is not to be trouble for people, and to just live my life as best as I can.
I'm on a similar thing. Like I don't think like perfect example. This is how I live my life every day. When I was before the podcast, I was smoking a cigarette on your balcony, and when I'm done, I go, oh, Pat doesn't have an ashtray out here. I go, I mean, I could flick this cigarette and no one's going to see anything.
Yeah.
And then I go, no.
Because you'll know. And it's not because of God. It's not because you think you'll get caught on a Ring camera. It's because you know what is right and wrong.
That's basically how...
That's religion.
I almost every time have the negative instinct.
Yeah.
And then I go, don't do that.
No.
No, that's not supposed... You're not being a good... I just have a sense... I have a vague sense of right or wrong, and I'm really good at just in the moment. Like that's why I go about it very reluctantly too. Sometimes, not all the time. I'm underselling myself. I'm a good guy. But no, I do often, not every time, but I often have the wrong impulse, and then I catch myself a half a second later going...
Because it's easier. It is a thing.
Yeah.
It's a selfish thing, and when you're selfish or you're being
and
rude
then you're like,
anything,
I'm going to feel like a fucking cunt if I do this.
It's not because you think you're going to get in trouble. It's not because you think you're going to get caught. It's because you know it's the wrong thing. And that's essentially all religion is if you know, essentially, if you treat the golden rule... and just essentially just acting like you're always being watched or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I guess you can do that, but really what's the important thing? The lesson that you can learn is knowing that you can get away with it and still not doing it.
And
that's when you actually are starting to become like an actual real person. Just because you think some invisible guy's watching you, or you think you fooled him because it's like, oh no, it's Wednesday, it's not Thursday. So let's have thank yous day dinner.
Well, I think you and me have a similar impulse too, where we go, I don't want to take more than, I don't want to be a net negative to this. I think I want to leave it better than I left it. Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to feel like I was an addition,
right,
not a leech.
If I'm working, if like I have a day job, that's why the doing the pet sitting thing has been like phenomenal for me, because it's something that I know I'm very good at, that I can actually help people for money. Like it's the thing, like there's something so meaningless. I don't help people when I work at a fast food place. I don't help people if I work at a medical. You think you're helping people by working at a medical supply company? No, you're not. They're making them pay for it way more than they ever should, and then you're bringing it to them within your schedule
of
time.
You are helping people, but at a real cost, big cost.
At your leisure, and at a cost. So it's like one of those things of like, when it comes down to something like that, or even like when I was doing Instacart, it's like, I know that the consideration I'm putting into this is something that I would love to get myself. So I know I'm helping.
It's kind of why you and me lean more. Like when it comes to comedy stuff, you and me never get real artsy with it.
Not really, no.
Yeah, because it's like I'm always just like, it's like don't get me wrong. It's weird. I don't fault any. We have so many friends who write sketches and make sketches, and they're some of the funniest sketches. But when I go to do it, I go to sit down to write a sketch, my brain immediately is like, there's enough fucking sketches. We don't need another sketch.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm almost like, I like doing comedy because it makes people laugh and it feels good. And then I like the way I'm podcasting because like I've always joked before when people hit me up and they're like, brother, you get me through my fucking shitty ass job.
Yeah, that's true.
That means more to me than like, oh, did you see?
Because we've been there.
Did you see who shared the sketch? Which, like, I don't know. It's weird because it's like I'm genuinely not. I like watching my friends' sketches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Jake Rickon makes a bunch. I mean, fuck. So Shane just did tires and shit. Like, this is a show. It's not sketches. But even when he did sketches with Gillian Keefe, it's like I love watching all my friends do sketches. But it's like I have that weird feeling when I do it. I go, I don't know. I'd just rather... I mean, all that being said, I like being in them. I found that out. I am the comedic actor of our generation. I did find that out a couple months ago. Yeah. Physical... I'm the Chris Farley of our generation.
Stage and screen.
Chris Farley of our generation.
Yeah. But that's
get me to be a fat guy falling down. You will not regret it. But no, it's like I have similar impulses like that where it's like I don't know. I'd rather I like the fact that people can listen to No More Heroes and then they can laugh, but also they'd be like, now I know 5 more things about Mormonism I didn't know.
Yeah, I think that's the thing of like this is a situation where like with like a lifelong love of music, Drag the Lake feels just completely natural. Like that's a podcast that I feel actually can add something to the podcast world.
Well, yeah, because we're setting the score.
The same thing with No More Heroes. Like
we're letting them know.
Once we bring in the research era, then we're unstoppable. That's a situation where you're bringing in 2 new point of views to a situation or a religion or a thing where it's just opening a dialogue. And that's what I really appreciate about podcasting and radio and stuff like that. So if I can offer that same thing, or again, like you said, if somebody's like, man, I work this you get me through my shitty warehouse job or whatever it is, or whatever it is. Or even if there's somebody out there that's listening that is, or watching was a Jehovah's Witness, am I lying? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a thing where like pound off in the comments if you had a personal experience with this shit, because it's a thing where you're like, it's so crazy that people don't know this. They just think they're the door knocking people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Michael Jackson was a Jehovah's Witness. The whole family was. That's why it was so interesting that he was famous. So was Prince. Prince was also a Jehovah's Witness. Both of them, you're not supposed to like seek fame or stuff like that, like stardom like that. So it is really interesting in certain situations. I believe that there's like, but they also, I'm sure they love the promo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know what I have no personal experience. I know we were talking about with the Vatican thing.
I'd
I know
love
we
to
could
do
talk
a
about
Vatican.
Mormonism,
I'd love to do a Vatican ep.
the Vatican archives, or just Vatican.
Wait, have I been saying Jehovah's Witness and Mormons the whole time?
Well, you've said it a couple times, but it was every time you said it, it was like you were just giving an example, but not like you were referencing this episode.
Yeah, I was fucking that up.
It's okay.
I kept.
It wasn't as bad as you thought.
Okay.
Like, it's because, like I said, every time you did it, I was like, I think I want to correct him, but I'm like, he might not be talking about. It wasn't clear that you were
There
talking
was
about this
about.
episode.
I remember there was like 3 times I know I said Mormon,
Yeah.
meaning Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it's so weird that they have that same.
They both have the
a
similar vibe of sterile whites.
and they also have the uniform. They have a
Yeah.
uniform where, like, for Jehovah's Witnesses, you're supposed to wear like a suit and tie kind of thing. Like, but again, some people, they just kind of get whatever they can. Mormons get they got their like uniform, like white shirt. They have name tags, ties, dress shoes. Usually riding around on bikes.
Wait a minute.
They still both travel.
I 100% watched videos on Mormonism this morning.
That's hilarious.
You please correct me in the future when I do stuff like that.
You didn't do it at the beginning of the episode, and they are very similar.
You know what it was? If we would have actually got into the religion deeper, it would have been very apparent. But we kept it to you and your wife.
Oh, yeah. But you did even talk about the scribes, like the things again. But again, that
Didn't I say Joseph Smith? Isn't that?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say the guy who actually did the other thing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's why I figured when I mentioned that it started in Pittsburgh, and you didn't mention that it happened in Utah. I figured that was.
I also don't know anything.
Hey, it's okay.
Sure.
Hey, we could do Mormonism next time too.
Well, I'm studied up on it. So
Mormonism is just like again, they're like silly underwear Jehovah's.
Oh yeah, they got the wasn't it Mitt Romney?
Yeah, they got special underwear. We could get deep with them. They do seem kind of strange. They got Dom watches. It's so funny. Actually, I didn't even put that together. Dom fucking loves Mormon wives or mom talk or whatever the fuck.
That's
it's
why
called.
when you were talking, I was like, how did they make a Hulu show about this?
Yeah, they did not. Yeah,
Because they didn't.
yeah, they did about Mormons though.
Yeah.
So we could either talk about Mormons. That'll be funny if that's the episode's title. Jehovah's Witness, not Mormons.
I was gonna title it "How to Date a Jehovah's Witness."
That's fine too. Yeah, this did end up just being a personal. Like,
It was. I thought that was more fun.
How I met my wife.
I kind of wanted to push it there as we were getting into it. I was that's way more fun.
And I learned so much about the religion from living in it, and just
Yeah.
kind of like, and just being in it, and knowing like you really do learn. Like this is the best perspective. If I can say, super silver lining throughout the whole thing, is that I was able to still like say like these people are great. I don't love what they believe, and like the weirdest way possible. And these are people that are like introduced to me as my in-laws forever.
You got to give.
You know what I mean? So like I'm sitting here meeting these people for the first time and going like, and immediately taking like things they're doing with a grain of salt. Like immediately going like, you have to respect their beliefs, and trying to learn about their beliefs and like studying their beliefs and doing all this stuff. And while at no point were they ever trying to see it from my side.
Dude, and I will
it really did kind of bother me, but
yeah, no, that's frustrating as fuck. But from their perspective, I get them being like, well, that's not an option.
yeah. You can't go like I'm this. I baptized myself this, and then just be like, well,
Yeah.
or maybe he's right. Maybe
They're
it
like,
is actually
I
bullshit.
heard Pat out. We're on our way to the fucking MXPX show. No, I wanted to piggyback your one thing before we get out of here, but that is a thing you get a lot of times where people will conflate the religious people to the actual religion, and I've been through that experience many a time. Just on a surface level, most religious people are chill.
Yeah, and
it's just when you start like, if you want to debate theology or something like that, that's when people are like, oh, maybe we fucking kill you.
I love my in-laws like I love my family, which means there's a lot of things I disagree that they do.
I'm very emotionally distant from them.
And I judge the hell out of them, but I love them undoubtedly. Like that's the thing is like the surface anger, the resentment and stuff like that isn't necessarily there, but it's still one of those things of like I can forgive, but I'll never forget that. Like I can never forget that. I can't.
Yeah.
It was so
That's
such
an
a crazy
interesting
thing, so.
that's an interesting thing too, because I realized one of my problems is we were joking about it recently, and I was like, I have like the best memory for when you've wronged me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my problem is I don't forget those things. And I go, well, you can't. You got to like, because there's certain ones where it's like, there's certain things where you're like, that was a bad day. And then there's certain things where you go, that's who you are.
Yeah, I don't, and that's the thing is like I know that's not who they are. It was just a bad year. It was just a bad time, and then there was a level of resentment when her sister ended up getting disfellowshipped, and they seemed to like not even really skip a beat at all. Mm-hmm. It really did make me feel like it was me. It was kind of like one of those things of like, so just fuck me.
Yeah,
like it must just be me, because otherwise you would have just been in our lives. Like if you're Jehovah can see you, so what the fuck?
You had to give your wife that pep talk when you got married. You're like, just fuck me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so like again, and also just listen to when I say what gifts I want. I'm just gonna give you a list like Santa. No.
We could definitely do Mormonism, but I would really like to do Vatican next week.
We'll do that. So that way there's no confusion.
Yeah.
You just come back and you're like, I did Jerusalem?
You're like, I did the church down, just a church by my house.
I just did this Baptist church over there. You know, Baptist? You ever been to Baptist?
Honestly, you know what's funny? It's good I didn't do much research this week.
Yeah.
Because I just would have researched Mormonism the whole time. That's so funny.
Oh, man, I got to piss so bad.
All right. I love you guys. Bye.
God bless.